The Pat O'Hara Show is sponsored by the River Shack Tavern, 3449 River Road in Jefferson.
Welcome to another edition of the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, your host, and joining me always is Pat O'Hara. Coach, welcome to the show.
Brandon, how's it going? It's good to be back at the River Shack.
It's a great day to be here, and Coach, unfortunately though, we're gonna start this show talking about the San Antonio game, just overall synopsis.
San Antonio is a good football team. We played a good football game. I think the one difference in that game was penalties. We had a number of penalties. We did some things we don't normally do, especially on offense. False starts, offsides by receivers in motion, I thought was called a little bit tight, but those are things that get you in trouble. And we missed a couple PATs, and that meant the game. It was a really good football game to watch. Unfortunately, we came up short.
Talk about San Antonio. You mentioned a great team, winners of 6 straight, 7 of their last 8. Just a really good football team. I don't know if the fans really understand how good of a team that was.
Well, when you have Aaron Garcia playing quarterback for you, you have a great chance. Won the championship in Jacksonville last year as a quarterback there, and he plays at a high level. And they have a good football team, good pass rush. I thought we played a lot better against them than we did the first time we played them, and that's a game that really could have gone either way. And the good news is that we control our own destiny still, and I'm excited about that. I think we're playing good football right now. Even though we lost that game, I think we're playing good football the last 2 weeks.
Talk about some of the positives that you take from that game. I know you guys had a chance to break down the film, just some of the things that stood out.
Well, we played a little better on special teams, Brandon. We had the 2 missed PATs, but we really played better in our coverage team and our return team. We were able to get field position and good coverage, and that was something we've been talking about here on every Monday, and that's something that got better. Offensively, we protected good. Kurt had a very good game. He had the 1 interception, but really had 364 yards and a bunch of touchdowns, consistency. Receivers played really well. LJ had a huge game. I thought defensively we made it tough on Aaron Garcia in the second half there in the third quarter. We got a stop that we needed. Thought we played good football. The penalties hurt us. They really hurt us. Without that, we're in good shape.
One of the things you mentioned was special teams, and definitely a bright spot this week. Was that first kick return by Josh Bush kind of a tone setter for the game?
Well, I think so. We talk about starting fast. We've talked about that all year, and it starts with special teams. I don't care what football game you play, the first play of the game is a special teams play, and that's something where you have to establish a tempo. Our guys did that. The last 2 weeks we've played good football. Some people are saying, why are you so excited? You're coming off a loss, but I'm really excited about where we're at because we do control our own destiny, and we are playing good football at the right time.
Talk about your pass rush. I know you're very excited about having Xavier Brown here. How do you feel your defensive line's coming along with the addition of him?
I thought we had a good pass rush last week against Georgia. I think we were a little bit hit or miss the other night. Aaron Garcia gets rid of the football quickly, but I thought we were a little bit, sometimes we're on it, and sometimes we didn't have as much. So we've got to get that cranked up this week against Cleveland.
Also, one of the ththings that really stood out is Jamar Ward is a wall. Your defensive line did the best they could.
Jamar's a big old guy. He's the biggest guy in the Arena Football League. He played for me last year. He's a big man. Doesn't really look the best in his uniform, but he's a great football player.
I know the head coach for the San Antonio Talents is a good friend of yours. It just happened to be his birthday. You gave him a good birthday gift.
Oh, wow, yeah. Well, we didn't want to give him that kind of gift, but LJ's done a great job out there, and, they've won 6 in a row.
Talk about us, Coach. Talk about the Voodoo moving forward. A lot of division games left, but just like you said, coming off that loss, played pretty good in that game.
We did, and you have to play your best football in June. And the teams that I played on championships with, the 5 teams in the Arena Football League, start playing our best football in June, moving into July, and start peaking at the right time. I believe we're starting to do that. We're the 6th seed in a 4-team race to get in the playoffs, and there's 3 teams in that top 4 that have 6 wins. We have 5, so we control our own destiny. We really broke it down for our players today, where we're at, and we play everyone in our division still the rest of the way. So it's an exciting time right now, and our sense of urgency is there, and we have to have it.
You mentioned Kurt earlier in this segment. Let's talk about Kurt. I know you're very proud of him, and he's definitely made some progress moving on in the season.
Kurt's the youngest starting quarterback in the league, and I expect a lot of him. I really do. I expect a lot of him, and when he does make some mistakes, some youthful mistakes, I'm on him. And I have to remember, this kid's 24 years old, barely 24, and he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. And statistically, I think he's top 1, 2, or 3 in the league. So he's got to continue on that level of play. If we protect him, we're going to win some games here, and it's going to get exciting.
You're watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. Stay tuned for more Voodoo action coming up next. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. I'm Brandon Rizzuto, and it's actually the Doug Miller Show for this segment. And Coach, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Coach, you've spent a lot of years in this league and as a player and now as a coach, but let's first talk about your years as a player. Tell me about those.
I played in Orlando, Arena Football League for 6 years. I had an awesome time playing in the Arena Football League. That was back in the day when we went both ways. You had to play offensive line and defensive line. So you had to be very, very talented to play in this league, and you had to be able to make that adjustment from being very aggressive on the defensive line to moving over to the offensive line and being more passive and waiting for a bull rush or waiting for this defensive lineman to make this move. So it was a tough transition, but guys were athletic enough to be able to do this.
Now, you have the ability and the knowledge of playing more than one position. Does that make you a better coach? Talk about some of the positions you've played and how that helps you.
I think that helps me a lot as a coach. What's the old saying? I didn't master any of the positions, but I was able to do all the positions. So playing 6 different positions while I played, it helped me as a coach because learning the MAC position or the fullback position when you're a natural defensive lineman, it's pretty hard, So being that I played every position that it was to play as a lineman, I think it helps me out dramatically as a coach because I do know the right steps that the guy's supposed to take or the right technique that these guys are supposed to have. Instead of reading a book and trying to correlate what they say in the book to do on the field, I actually did it. So it makes it easier for me to be able to go out and show these guys exactly what to do.
You've played in the NFL and both played in the AFL as well. Talk about the differences between the two games, specifically in the trenches.
There's a big difference between the outside game and the inside game. Physically, there's no difference. Mentally, there's, because in the outside game, you have what you call different techniques. You have the 1 technique, the 3 technique, the 5 technique, and the 7 and the 9 technique. So therefore, as a defensive end, you're able to rush a little wider. There's a lot of more things you can do. You can set your moves up more because you have more field to work with. In arena football, you just have the 1 technique and 2, 3 techniques. So everything has to be done very, very fast. Your moves have to come quick. Your thought process has to be a little quicker in the arena football than the outside game. It's like playing in a phone booth. Everything is bottled up, and you have to make your decisions very, very quick. I think that playing in the arena makes you a better pass rusher in the outside game because things happen so fast. The linemen are able to get their hands on you a lot quicker, so now you have to make these moves a little bit more quicker than you would in the outside game.
Obviously, you have a close relationship with Pat O'Hara. Talk about how that began and what led you to following him here to New Orleans.
I played against Pat for the 6 years that I was in Orlando. He was with the Tampa Storm, and they were our arch rivals. So playing against him and Coach Markham, although they were our enemies, we developed a relationship because we saw them twice a year, and he lived in Orlando where I lived at, so we knew the same people in the same circle. So when he became a coach, he actually called me to play. And I told him I wouldn't like to play anymore, but I would like to coach, So the first year I was just a volunteer, I came out my first year, and after the second day, he gave me the job actually. He said, you would do everything that my defense coordinator would do, and here's your job, And I worked there with him in Orlando for 2 years. We got released after the second season after we made the playoffs. An hour later, he got the job here in New Orleans. He called me 5 minutes after he got the job, and I say, hey, I'm with you. He's a great guy to be around.
Well, Coach, we're happy to have you here. Unfortunately, our time is up. Very interesting guy. If you get a chance to talk to Doug Miller, please do so. You're watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. Stay tuned for more Voodoo action coming up next. Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern. We tape here every Monday at 3 o'clock. We'd love to see you here. Voodoo coaches, staff, and players, along with some Voodoo dolls, are here every Monday and are waiting you. Come out and see us. Coach, had a chance to visit with Doug Miller, your special teams coach. Obviously a great guy and very interesting.
Well, Doug's a guy that has been coaching for me the last 2 years in Orlando. It's his third year with me. His first year, he worked as a volunteer coach and did an outstanding job. And we put more responsibility on him this year. He's our line coach, so he's really got probably the most important job. He handles our offensive line, defensive line, all right, and I've added special teams on his tasks, and so that's a lot thought there. He's carrying a lot of the weight, and Doug's the guy that's done a good job. He played in the league played every position in this league as a player, and is translating that to a coach.
We didn't have a chance to get this out of him because he gave such a great interview and talking about the game and everything that he's been involved with, but he's a pretty good poker player.
Evidently, he's a very good poker player. The guy, has gotten himself in a position where he's actually on those shows where you see him on those guys on TV playing, and he's got a good poker face, and he's done really well. So that's a good side job for him.
Had a chance to talk to him before the show. He said out of 9,600 contestants in the Miami Regional, he finished 38th.
Well, he called me. I expected him to come to training camp, a couple of weeks before camp so we could prep. And he called me and told me what he was doing. And I was like, you got to keep going. I mean, he didn't expect to go that far in the tournament. So that was neat. And he finished, one of the top, 30 or 50 or something like that. And that's neat for him, and that was exciting.
Coach, every week we talk about a player and we get a chance to get to know a Voodoo player. And this guy, probably in the runnings and definitely in the talk for Rookie of the Year, especially on the defensive side for us. Any idea who we're talking about?
It has to be Jeremy Kellum, there's no question.
Let's get to know more about Jeremy Kellum right now.
Voodoo, running for my magic. Voodoo, running for my magic. Voodoo, running for my magic. Voodoo, running for my magic.
I think as a team, I think we have a real good team. Our record right now may not show that. I think we have to begin to focus back on the fundamentals of the game, being more disciplined and man coverage, making sure we look at our man instead of the quarterback, special teams, making sure we run down, break down, and make the tackles, and blocking, make sure we don't hold. So I think we just need to get back to the fundamentals, because I think a lot of times in the games we're evenly matched, or we're not too far behind from the other team, but the mistakes that we make cost us, and a lot of those mistakes are fundamental. So as long as we get back to the fundamentals, the blocking, the tackling, and keeping our eyes on the man and man coverage, I think we'll get back on a good road and hopefully end up making the playoffs. Well, your eyes kind of get big because, like you say, I'm on defense, so the ball is not intended for me. So when I see the quarterback throw the ball, and I see that I actually have an opportunity to pick it off, I get kind of excited in the inside. You can't really see it during the play, but you get kind of excited. And then you just try to focus in on the ball as it comes in, and then, thank the Lord, you know, you come up with the catch. It was the wide receiver, he ran like a post or over route, and I drove down on it. And I actually, me and the receiver kind of bumped shoulders as we were going to the ground, and the ball deflected off my leg and into the wall. And then fans, they were reaching for the ball at the same time. And then it bounced around in my legs, and thank the Lord I was able to catch it with my feet, and I kept it from hitting the ground. And our coach didn't even know I had caught it. Then I just ran over there and I was like, challenge it, coach, challenge it. And he did, and then, you know, we got the ball and offense ran the timeout, and we ended up winning against Orlando. The Oreo cookies, heads and tails, you know, I never had those cookies until I got to New Orleans, and they are great. And I think that everybody out there should go get them some Oreo heads and tails with the black side and the kind of light brown side with the cream in the middle. That's a great cookie, and it got a good name, you know, heads and tails, because of two opposite colors. But I love to be a pitch man for Oreo cookies. I mean, I like to get involved with FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I'm actually trying to get involved right now with the FCA in New Orleans, because when I was at Middle Tennessee State University, I was involved with FCA, and they helped me with, you know, growing my faith and my walk with the Lord Jesus Christ. So, you know, I just try to, you know, get involved with FCA, and once I'm done playing, I would like to, you know, get even more involved with FCA and go speak to different high schools and speak to the kids and stuff like that about football, but more importantly about God and how, you know, your faith in the Lord is bigger than the game of football.
Welcome back to the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern for our final segment this week. Coach, we turn our eyes to our next opponent, Cleveland Gladiators.
Yeah, Cleveland's they're 6-6. They're the 4th seed, Brandon. And right now, if the playoffs started today, we're the 6th at 5-7. So that tells you right there how important this game is. We've got to have it. We've got to have this game. They're an experienced football team, and then their quarterback, John Dutton, has played in the league forever. Gets the ball out of his hands quickly. They have some good receivers. It's going to be a great test. I'm excited to, I can't wait to get on that plane Friday and get up there. You know, we're going to get back to work tomorrow, but I'm excited to get back up there. I really believe in our football team, Brandon, and I believe we're going to go out and do some good things on Saturday.
With Cleveland's forfeiture to Pittsburgh last week, do you actually know what you're going to see from Cleveland this week?
Well, it's a unique situation. We've never had a forfeit in all 25 years of the Arena Football League. Certainly in my 18 years in this league, I've never seen it. However, we're preparing for their best. So that's what we're going to do until we hear otherwise. That's our preparation. And again, we worry about our opponent. We concentrate on our opponent, but more so on ourselves, like we talk about every week, Brandon. That's something that's going to continue. But that's kind of going to be our mode of operations this week.
You're obviously expecting to see John Dutton.
John Dutton's going to play. John Dutton showed up at the game, I guess, when they did forfeit, wanted to play. We're going to see John Dutton. John's a guy that wants to get the ball out of his hands. He doesn't take sacks and a whole lot of hits. A little bit older guy, real savvy, smart guy. So, you know, we need to be ready for that quick passing game that they have in Cleveland.
His understudy or protege, if you will, Kurt Rocco, gets a chance to get close to home and go back to the place where his arena football career started last year. Big game for Kurt.
Yeah, we actually have 2 players that played on that team last year, Demarcus Robinson and Kurt Rocco. And Kurt Rocco filled in for John Dutton in week 1 when John ruptured his Achilles, and that's something that really helped in Kurt's initial development. And we were fortunate to get Kurt back, and really we're fortunate Cleveland was able to get John back, because we sure like having Kurt on our team. And Demarcus Robinson's a guy that Cleveland wasn't ready to bring back. So I know he'll be motivated to play.
Also, Corey Payne in that mix as well. Unable to get on the field last year due to injury. Got to be motivated to go back for him as well.
I think Corey had like 4, 5, 6, under 10 catches last year for Cleveland. You know, he's got 73 to 80 catches now, and so he'll be motivated. And you know, a guy like L.J. Castile had 4 catches on this football team last year. I think he has about 85 now. So some guys really have something to play for.
Last year, the Voodoo were able to go up there and get a win. Coach, what's it going to take for the Voodoo to come back from Cleveland once again this week with a win?
Well, what I like about our football team is they do have a short memory. You know, sometimes a short memory good, sometimes a short memory bad. You know, I think that we've kind of been on this roller coaster of win, lose, you know, and we're trying to get some consistency. I think that we're coming off a loss. I think they'll have the short memory and really zero in on what we got to do. Again, our team is very clear on what we have to do to get into the tournament, and this is part of that process is a win Saturday.
Talk about your defensive backfield going into this game. Obviously, Jeremy Kellum, everybody's at 100%, but you got a guy that's not a lot of people know about named Jamal Fudge in the mix.
You know, Jamal's the second guy I actually signed for our team in the off season, and he's a guy I met when I was working on the set of Necessary Roughness in Atlanta, and lived in Atlanta, and I watched him moving around the football field. He's an NFL guy, he played 4 years in the NFL, and I signed him, and then he signed with CFL. So we've been on our exempt list, and he became available. Jamal suited up the other night, played special teams, did a good job. We're inching him towards, you know, getting him comfortable with the arena style of game, and he's going to probably contribute for us and do a great job.
Last and final thing, Coach, some things that really stand out on Cleveland's team that could cause problems for Voodoo.
Well, quarterback's a great player, and Dominic Goodman's our leading receiver, is very good, and Carlish Franklin, who played for us, is traded up there, is playing for them. He's going to be motivated to play. And Cleveland plays very good defensively. I think they're second in turnover margin to us. So they take the ball away and they don't protect it pretty well. So it's going to be a tremendous challenge, but we're very excited for it.
Coach, as always, best of luck in Cleveland.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching the Pat O'Hara Show here at the River Shack Tavern and on Cox 4. Stay tuned to Cox 4 for more Voodoo action coming up next.